Jeff, Zach, thanks for joining me.
Hey,
Hi,
Steve.
Steve.
Hey, we're talking about the LA fires, including the ones in the Palisades. Some pretty disturbing stuff. We're gonna talk a little bit about some of the issues of mismanagement that looks like it's contributed to this. We've seen, I think, in just one 24-hour period, more than 80,000 Californians got evacuated. We have seen a few dead, multiple injured, and obviously thousands of acres of some of the nation's most valuable real estate in Southern California go up in flames. Um, one of the areas I think folks are gonna be looking at post this is the firefighters running out of water. It looks like that was just an issue of not having enough water tanks available, even though they have over 100 of them. Um, they uh, they were apparently all full when the fire started on Tuesday. Um, and by about 5 p.m. the first one was empty, and by 3 a.m. Wednesday, they were all empty, and the water pressure in the system was gone. Um, you've also obviously got the issue. I think we've talked about this a little bit in terms of one of the reasons we're not participating in the California market so much uh, is the fire danger that is there. Some stats that California's forest density of basically dry wood is about 5 times what it's been for the past 20 million years, which kind of points to some pretty bad management. And then, of course, the insurance companies aren't oblivious to this. A lot of the insurers have pulled out of the market. Unfortunately, some of those homeowners just don't have insurance. Some policies were fairly recently canceled. And one of that reasons is California law just doesn't allow insurance companies to increase their premiums to match the level of danger here. I'm obviously a California native, not well aware of some of these trends. I do think there's trends that kind of keep us away from this market. But some of your guys' thoughts on this tragedy, but also some of the issues we see with owning and investing in California.
Well, first, my heartfelt condolences. This is a tragedy, and it's terrible and awful that anyone has to go through this. Um, I I understand and I listen and hear you when you say about the mismanagement, clearing out brush and otherwise being better prepared. Yeah, that could have a positive impact, especially moving forward. I think this is unfortunately a very sad learning episode of all of the things that they should have been doing ahead of time to kind of prevent and mitigate this. Oh, it'll never happen. It'll never happen. And then it does, and you're not prepared. Um, Other things, all the people without insurance, I don't know how this doesn't turn into a bloodbath. And I think the state's going to have to step in and rescue these people, maybe even a federal response. And I don't know what that's going to look like because insurance carriers, you're right, they're not going to be in the market. We experienced that in Florida with hurricanes. They step out, you have to take lower coverage. You're stuck self-insuring and hoping nothing bad happens. And that's just not the case. There are emergencies that do happen. And maybe there's an opportunity here for some level of fire material that is fire resistant. I don't know what that looks like. But changing the construction codes to kind of better protect or try and reduce future exposure to this happening. I mean, if the construction was possibly different on a lot of materials, which that's hard to do on existing structures, but on new structures, could that reduce the impact of the fires or prevent them from spreading as fast? I don't know. So I don't know what comes out of this, but my heart felt sympathies to everyone affected by this.
Yeah, I mean, I'm, like I feel the same. It's a tragedy. Feel bad for these people, and I, understand their imposition. Don't want to capitalize on somebody else's, tragedy. I guess the best and only way to put that. But I'm not really sure what there is to learn out of this yet. I'm sure something will come out of it. I'm sure California will figure out some way to make this about California only and figure out some way to screw it up even more. But the truth is, if you dig in, there's probably mismanagement. But to be fair, these are policymakers, and they're not really firefighters. They're not really experts in all these things, and they're relying upon other expertise to try to figure it out. So makes it difficult for them. So it's hard to place blame, and everybody wants to take blame, but it just kind of is what it is.
Yeah, any thoughts you guys have on just if they don't cut the red tape, what kind of challenges they're going to be looking at rebuilding, doing development, with so many businesses, homes just bought down. I mean, I'm kind of I'm also worried about that just the way California handles regulations, that this is going to be a development nightmare, to
Of
rebuild
course it
these
will.
areas.
I would say it's probably even
Yeah,
worse. You probably won't even get to redevelop in some cases. You may
that's
just
right.
have
I
land that
mean,
sits there.
yeah, you've got the problem having to go through zoning and permitting. A lot of these properties are so old, they're grandfathered in. I don't know that they even meet the current zoning, which means you couldn't rebuild what was there previously.
Yeah.
And so you have to then change zoning. You have to get through, if you have 10,000 houses all at once, 50,000 houses all at once, and they have to go through a full design review and permit approval process, this could take years, if not
It will take.
decades.
Probably will.
And no, none of these people will have homes.
Yeah, and just to throw one other thing out there, let's assume there's a miracle and California actually cuts a lot of the red tapes and the whole zoning process, the approval process gets expedited. We've faced this challenge in just doing fairly minor improvements on properties nowadays as far as root crews, materials costs. What are they looking at in terms
Massive.
of rebuilding so much area, in terms of the labor, the costs, and actually being able to get it done even if it gets approved?
Going to be incredibly expensive. I mean, you're looking at a micro supply chain issue. Talk about exponential inflation. I mean, you're going to have people crawling over each other to offer more money to get theirs built first as opposed to somebody else. You're going to watch a lot of people get really screwed up. You're going to watch a lot of this get really blown out of proportion. It's going to hurt a lot of people financially. It's going to show disparities between the wealthy and the not wealthy. Um, but the another question, how do you prevent bad actors from coming in, and taking advantage? I mean, if you cut the red tape, the intention is good to get people back into their homes, but that red tape can't be cut in just one specific area, which means that you're going to have a lot of people come in and exploit that for fly-by-night construction or new development. You could see, kind of the opposite effect where people get kind of priced out or squeezed out, and you're watching people flood into California to do development now because there's no rules. It gets a little more like the Wild West. I mean, it's awful.
Yeah, I mean, it kind of reminds me of to your point, Zach, of I think it's Landman, where one of the actors is talking about, showing opportunity that's in the oil fields, et cetera. And you'll see the people who come out who are the first money to get there. Either end up making a lot or get killed. And then, you get all the other people that come in that are supporting, and basically everybody that comes in with the supporting are essentially the charlatans or somebody selling snake oil or something. And I think in this case, you're going to see a lot of people come from other states to act as support to do construction, renovation, development, and they may not have the licenses and or experience to do it. And they're just going to go and make a lot of money and screw people over. Honestly, it's kind of an ugly scenario all the way around it. But in terms for red tape, the only red tape they could really cut is holding the insurance company's feet to the fire and saying, look, you're not exiting, can't exit. These people are relying on you, and now you're screwing everybody over. They made their money, and what are they going to do? Go bankrupt? I mean, which is what they do in other states. Maybe they will. I don't know.
Yeah, well, I think you're also going to have the challenge in terms of the California, coast. There's going to be interest groups that don't want them to rebuild, that want the coast to kind of be public, be more open. Unfortunately, I think these problems and this for a lot of the homeowners, this nightmare is just beginning. So obviously, our condolences. We'll follow it, but it's unfortunately. I think I agree everything you guys are saying. This is going to be playing out over years.
Yeah.
There is no quick fix here.
Yeah, and it's unfortunate because there's gonna be a lot of people who have their entire retirement is invested in their home and they just lost everything.
Yeah. Uh, um, I guess not such a happy note to close on, but we'll be following this. I don't even know if it's a good thing, but for some people in neighborhoods not affected, they may have more demand. So, I mean, you may, that may be a price positive for some of the people that now have houses or are renting. Um, and surrounding areas, because you've now got folks that need places to live, and these are wealthy areas where they're going to have the money to spend. But unfortunately, that's going to probably push things out or make more things more expensive for other folks too. So I guess there may be some landlords that get some upside from this, but it's a lot of downside.
Yeah.
Hey, give a thumbs up if you appreciated the video. Comment, let us know what we're missing here. Subscribe if you haven't. Visit our website, selectfincap.com. Get on our free newsletter to see exclusive commercial real estate investment opportunities and real estate news. Thanks a lot, guys.
Thanks,
Thanks,
Steve.
Steve.